Fostering connection through vulnerability, the People Pleaser podcast validates struggles, celebrates growth, and inspires positive change. Together, let's embrace authenticity, challenge patterns, and evolve with compassion. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the People Pleaser podcast. I am here. It is 2026, and it's Corey, for those of you who don't know that. I took a much needed break, and I'm actually coming to you with some news. But before I get into the spicy details, I want to know how you're doing. This month, January, it's actually been really beautiful, which I am so grateful for some of these sunny days that we've had, because I am in a bit of a winter slump. I've been definitely feeling it since coming back from winter break. I think I had the anticipated, oh God, 2 weeks off is so amazing. Why does work exist? I want to be on holidays forever type experience. I think we all know that one quite well. It's hard. It's hard to transition back after time away. It's never enough time. And I just think that transition, coupled with the very dark days, the very short days, the colder days, has just kind of been getting on my mental health nerves. My mental health is like, could you not? I just had a 3-day weekend in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, which was yesterday. And I really appreciated those days off. I actually spent them almost exclusively in the yard. So just before Christmas, my husband and I closed on the purchase of this house. We built our own contract with our landlord, and we are doing owner financing. So we didn't go the traditional route. We kind of carved a path that met both our needs and our landlord's needs. We are very lucky for this opportunity. Can't actually imagine doing it any other way now that we've done it this way. So it really was the best option for us, just in terms of where we're at financially, where we're at in life. And so, yeah, right before Christmas, we closed on the house, and it just means that we are now looking at this house and our property and yeah, the whole kit and caboodle with that new lens of like, oh, not only is this our responsibility now, but what do we want to do with this? What can we now do that we couldn't do as renters? For me, it's been a process of like looking at the house, looking at how we use the house, looking at the areas that are like used a lot and maybe overused or used for like a lot of different things, and what are the spaces that are not being used, and kind of ask why. Like what is maybe the draw to these certain areas, and what is maybe not as functional in the other areas. We also have to do some pretty major renovations just because things need to be updated. Is this boring? I'm so sorry. Wow. I think I'm just like verbally processing my own thoughts. This podcast has been a significant journey for me. I started this podcast almost 2 years ago. It will be 2 years in March. I am just so appreciative of the opportunity, of the space to have what feels like important conversations, what feel like really important reflections of how I'm living life as a people pleaser, how these different relational aspects, these different emotional aspects of life come in and eventually leave and just like, yeah, to have this community and this platform as a friend and an ally as I've navigated some really big life changes, like some of the biggest ones I've ever had. That being immigrating to the United States, being in a long distance relationship for, a good chunk of time, starting my master's program, getting jobs, leaving jobs, all the different interpersonal dynamics, friendships, finances, all of the things. I've had this space to honor and process some of those really big life experiences that ultimately can be complicated and nuanced and emotional. I grieved the loss of my dad on this platform, on this podcast, getting into the weeds with some of life's big lessons, big teaching moments. And I have done this completely on my own. This has been a solo journey, one that has been very healing. And what I've learned and what I've heard from you is that it's been really relatable. I've got some beautiful messages from people just literally saying the words like, it's like you're in my head. Like literally, we are in this together. And that is not only so amazing, like I'm so glad that I can be that for you, but I'm so amazed that you can be that for me. I'm so grateful that you can be that for me. Those moments are not lost on me. The intention of this space is still something I regard so highly. For a while, I thought that I may have pigeonholed myself with the name being the People Pleaser Podcast. But as I learn more about myself and as I learn more about anxiety and being an empath, being a highly sensitive person, being the firstborn in my family, being the eldest daughter in my family, there are so many aspects to my experience that are interconnected with people pleasing and do have an impact on how I navigate the world and relationships and even just my relationship with myself and the grace I'm learning to give myself, the understanding that I am beginning to have of who I am and why I may do the things I do or think the way I think. So I am just so grateful that this is a space that I've been able to keep coming back to. I have access to the time to be able to engage with this space, but just really a heartfelt thank you to all of you who subscribe, who listen, who share these episodes, who message me, who just like give me those words of encouragement, even just in person, or who are excited when they hear I have a podcast. I recently shared with some of my classmates in my master's program that I have a podcast, and they were like gobsmacked. They couldn't believe that I was doing this. And even that's like, that feels good to be like, yeah, I'm doing this. And I am not, the most consistent. This has really been a passion project. This is just something that I do on my own time when an idea kind of hits, when the motivation is just right. And so there have been long periods of pausing and moments of existential crisis where I quit all social media and then I get it back. And I have a really hard time knowing like how far to push things. And for this being just me and something that I've just kind of done on my own time, I've really been happy to keep it in the more hobby category of life and the more passion project category of life. But the news that I want to share is that the People Pleaser podcast is going to go through a pretty incredible change starting early this year. So the the wheels are in motion, progress is being made, and I'm not going to give it all away because I want to do an episode where we're really launching into things. But I will no longer be doing this podcast by myself. I am so, so, so excited to be bringing on my dear friend Cindy, who will be my co-host of the People Pleaser podcast. We are going to be doing this as a partnership. And oh my gosh, like we'll get into it all together when we have our first episode together, but it has just been such a joy to connect with Cindy over the podcast and to just like reignite the passion that I always had for this platform, but I felt limited by the fact that I was doing it by myself. And Cindy is ready to like pull up her socks and get down to work. And we are both just coming at this with this renewed sense of energy and commitment. And a lot of what we hope to bring is based on feedback that I have received. And these are things that I know would strengthen the podcast, but I just didn't have the capacity or the resources to do it on my own. And so the hope is to continue to bring this relational aspect, this, very raw, authentic, vulnerable conversation to this space, but to bring you a little more that you can sink your teeth into. So I will let Cindy introduce herself, but with her background and my future career as a counselor, I have turned the corner into my last year of my master's, and I will be starting my practicum where I will literally be a counselor in May. So we are bringing our expertise, we are bringing our life experience, we are bringing our sense of curiosity for the things that we don't know. But we are really hoping to deliver something that is just a little more robust, a little bit more well-rounded. There are topics that I want to go back into and give you more. And there are topics that without Cindy, I would have never even thought of them. And I'm just so grateful to have another brain, another perspective, a ton of life experience, a ton of professional experience, and just this the word that keeps coming to me is renewed. We have so many ideas, and it's been really, really important to both Cindy and I that we stay relevant for those of you who are here, those of you who have been here since day one. And we have you in mind when we want to offer more. And I mean, the hope is to grow. The hope is to expand and even have other ways of engaging. So lots to come. We are meeting every week. We are brainstorming a ton. We are getting really excited. So the next episode that you will hear of the People Pleaser podcast will be with my dear friend Cindy, whom I have known since I was 12 years old. That's some history right there. But there's a lot that I hope to learn, and there's lots that I know I don't know. So that is the teaser. I want to say so much more, but I really want to honor Cindy and have her be with me while we share more about what's to come, more about ourselves and each other, more about our relationship. It just feels so good. But I just wanted to make this episode to really honor the journey that we have been on together, just you and I. The time, the emotions, the laughter, the silly little stories, the times where, I haven't been my best and you have still held me in those moments and in that space. So it is with the most gratitude. I am holding my heart with a deep, deep thank you to you for being here, for watching my growth, the growth of the podcast. And I can't wait to bring you more very, very soon. So this is Corey signing off, but not for long. Soon I will be in the best company, and I just can't wait. Bye. Once again, this is Corey with the People Pleaser Podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. And if you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find daily content from me on both Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on the next episode.